Carol Lancaster, first to you. What, in your mind, are the most consequential foreign policy and national security issues that face President Obama in his second term?
I think the things that he has to deal with on day one, which is tomorrow or yesterday, very soon, is obviously what to do about Afghanistan. He's committed to withdrawing the troops there. What's going to happen after that? And then the evolving challenges in Pakistan are related to that as well, related to Afghanistan, and that remains a challenge to be managed. Syria continues to bleed, and pressures continue to be put on the president to do something from certain elements in the political world. What will he do? What can he do? And if he does nothing and radicals take power, then what happens after that? Syria is related to Iran. What does the president do about not just the Iranian efforts to create a nuclear device, which are very sensitive and will become, I think, a very important issue in this coming year, but basically Iranian influence in its region. And another piece of that, it's all linked together, isn't it, is the relationship between Israel and Palestine. There's about to be an election in Israel. It looks like the right-wing coalition will win again with Benjamin Netanyahu heading it. That poses a challenge for a president who might want to bring about some movement in peace for that part of the world. So war and peace issues confront him immediately. And then I would just like to mention one or two more if I can, and I'll stop. Managing relationships is important, and one of the key places I think is going to challenge the president is East Asia. New governments have been elected in China, in Korea, and in Japan, and they are all headed by conservatives. And interestingly enough, the conservatives heading them are children of prominent political families or political lineages. So what does that mean? These conservatives, if they choose to, could play off one another in a deteriorating set of relationships in the region. One hopes that doesn't happen, but here is going to be a focus of the pivot, if there is a pivot toward Asia, if one can pivot in this world. And then there's the economic issues, and the economic issues involve Europe. How did the Europeans pull themselves out of the economic morass and maintain the Union? And the United States, as you mentioned. We are going to have some very rough waters ahead as the president and the Congress try to negotiate a deal on raising the debt ceiling and on the next budget. And we haven't done so well vis-a-vis our own people and the rest of the world in these negotiations so far, everything up to the brink or over. It impairs U.S. leadership and U.S. credibility in the world, and indeed it impairs the U.S. economy, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Well, Anthony Clark Arend, anything to add or subtract to that very comprehensive list?
Well, I would agree with everything Carol said. I would add a couple areas of the world and then a couple sort of major issues. Africa, I think we continue to see problems in Mali, Nigeria, Central African Republic, the Congo, Sudan, and we could go on and on there. There's a question as to how the United States should respond, if the United States should respond. What we continue to see are the tragedies mounting up in Africa and a sense in which it looks as though the world is not paying attention. Now, in the case of Mali, there was recently a UN Security Council resolution calling for an African Union intervention there, but that's going to take time to put together, and one has to wonder how this is going to figure on the president's radar screen. Another area which I think has largely been neglected in the first term of the president was Latin America. There continue to be problems in Mexico, Guatemala. We have issues with the drug cartels and broader issues of drug financing and money laundering and how the United States should appropriately respond to those areas. So those sort of two regional areas, Africa and Latin America. And then I would add some broader issues such as climate change, energy, issues relating to that. This is an area where there was much hope when the Obama administration came in that there would be fundamental change in the area of climate and the environment, and we really haven't seen the kind of movement that seemed to be suggested in the first campaign. And then just finally, this isn't so much a substantive issue or a regional issue, but it's really a matter of perception, and that is the role of the United States as a leader in the international system. I think with the negotiations over the fiscal cliff, with the increasing polarization that is taking place within the American electorate and certainly within Congress, there's a perception in the rest of the world that the United States has not been an effective leader and cannot be an effective leader. This, I think, is a real challenge for Obama, and it's a real challenge for the next Secretary of State to try to dissuade the international views that the United States cannot effectively lead in the international system.